Hey, my name is Helene and today I'm bringing you the spring book tag. This tag was originally created by Amanda, Elise, Carina and Helene Jeppesen. I will leave their channels linked down below. And I was tagged by Hannah from the Dyslexic Reader, and thank you very much for tagging me. I will also leave a link to her channel down below. The first question is, how is spring where you live? I live in the Netherlands, and spring is generally a nicer weather than winter, but it can be nice and warm. It can still be cold. It can rain a lot. It can be windy. It can also be nice and sunny. It really depends. One year, I think that was one year, we had snow in April, so that definitely can happen as well once in a while. But we've also had, for example, Aprils where it was beautiful weather, nice enough to like have a meal outside. So right now is March and we have had some rain this month, some hail. I saw 2 rainbows and we had a thunderstorm. I saw lightning strike down. We've also had some days with some sunshine and some days just overcast. At the moment, yeah, it is partly cloudy and also some blue on the sky. So weather-wise, yeah, it's been all over the place lately, to be honest. And temperatures are alright. So yeah, it really depends. The next question is most anticipated book release this spring. And for this I have a few, because I can't pick just one. I'm really excited for The Weight of Stars by Kay Ancrum, I think. Ola Quinn recommended this book and she loved it, and so I'm really excited about it and I've pre-ordered it. I'm also really excited for an autism memoir that comes out, but it's a Dutch autism memoir. It's called Maar je ziet er helemaal niet autistisch uit. So I'm excited for that one. It is written by Bianca Toeps. I have been reading her blog for a while, and well, I'm always interested in autism memoirs coming out, and I haven't read that many Dutch ones. So, and the third one is, and these are not in any particular order, just in order of date, is The Boy Who Steals Houses by C.G. Drews. I've been following her blog for quite a while, and this is her second book. I really liked her first book, and her second book is again a young adult contemporary, but this time this book has an autistic protagonist. The main character, he's autistic, and it's about 2 brothers, and yeah, so I'm excited for that. Question 3, show us a book cover that makes you think of spring. And for that I have picked, perhaps rather appropriately, Springtime Stories by Enid Blyton. And to me, this cover really speaks of spring with the use of the colors. This green, like light green, really reminds me of spring. Also the blue, and of course the Easter eggs. Yeah, I actually started to read this book last year during the spring. And I read a couple of stories, because these are all short stories. And I read the first few, and I liked them alright, but at the time I didn't feel like reading any more of it. So I put it down, and I haven't picked it back up, but it will hopefully happen at some point. Then question 4 is, where are you going to read this spring? Now, I don't really like to read outside. I used to. When I was younger, I used to do that sometimes, but to be fair, most of those times was when my parents made me go outside, or when my partner was outside and I wanted to spend time with him. On my own, I don't really like to read outside, because outside for me is a lot of input, and I can't do that for a very long time. Outside here, you hear a lot of birds, cars, trains, my own chicken, of course. Although I mind their sound a bit less, but like, there are many sounds outside. There is the feel of the wind on your skin. There is the bright sunlight, which is sometimes difficult for my eyes, which is why I sometimes wear a hat in like spring and summer if I'm outside and it gets sunny. So I don't really like to read outside. So really in spring, I don't really read in a different place than I do normally. I do most of my reading in the bakery over there, in like the living room, on the sofa, or on at my desk. But I don't really read anywhere different in spring than I do in other years. I do like taking a walk outside, for example, but when I'm reading, I need to be able to try to concentrate on the reading. So I love having walks with my dog outside, but I don't want to be outside for too long, because the input is just too much. And when I read, I don't want to have too many other inputs going on. The next question is, find the cover with the sun on it. It took me a while, but I managed to find something. For this, I have picked Hoe overleef ik met zonder vrienden, and there's a slash there, by Francine Omen. There's a sun there. It's not a very clear one, but this book is part of the Hoe overleef ik series. I'm not sure. Oh, it's book 10 in the series. The main series consists of 13 books, but then there are also like one book that takes place a while after it, and like a side book. And anyway, I didn't read this series when I was a teenager. This series was kind of published after I was a teenager, so I was like maybe in my 20s, and it was a few years ago that somebody recommended this series. I can't remember now if did she have a blog, or I can't remember exactly. But anyway, somebody recommended this series and she had read them as a teenager. And so my library had all of them. So I decided to like give one a try, and yeah. So I quite like this series. And I have, since I finished them from the library, also managed to find my own copies. Now, because this is a Dutch book, and so I also picked an English one for this question, which is 7 Sunny Days by Chris Manby, and Here is the Sun. The other thing is, I haven't actually read this book yet. I have read several other books by this author. She has published books under Chris Manby and under Chrissy Manby. I think her more recent books are on the Chrissy Manby, but I'm not entirely sure what's behind this sort of switch in the name. I don't know. But they're sort of like chick lit rom-com books. I have read quite a few of her books, well, some of her books, and I really like most of them, but I haven't read this one yet. So yeah. Next question is, what are your favorite spring reads? And to be honest, I don't really have any particular spring reads. I like to read like just before Christmas, sort of in November, December. I like to read books to do with Christmas or winter. And then in the autumn I try to read at least one horror-y book. But spring-wise, like I don't really, other than, I mean, obviously this is a spring-themed book, but I haven't finished it yet. I don't think I have many other books to do with like Easter stuff. I have a couple of books in which Valentine's Day takes place, but I've realized as I was thinking about this tag that Valentine's Day takes place in February, so it's technically not spring, even though I call it spring themed, but in like my personal statistics, but it's not actually, like spring is more in March, April, May. I'm sure I've read books with spring weather, but I can't really think of anything right now. And then question 7, find a book with many different colors on it. And for that I've picked Fantasia 3 by John Moore Stilton, because this book has quite a few nice colors on it and I like this cover. I like this series. If you have noticed though, it is in plastic because I actually read a lot of books in this series from the library, and then I was gifted this copy. My mum had this voucher from work that on the website you could pick out of a selection of like different items what you wanted, and she gave it to me, and so I chose to have a book. But I always like to leave a book in plastic if it comes in plastic until I am actually like starting to read it, or in this case reread it. But yeah, I like this cover. Now I'm sure I have many more covers with many colors, but well, this was just. And the last question is, whom do you tag? And I'm not really sure, hasn't done this tag, so I'm not gonna tag anybody for now. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next one. Bye!